I just wanted to make like our broad conceptual framework, taking the idea of coalitions and showing that not every critique is a decolonial critique, right? I won't have time to set all the major premises of Latin America decoloniality, but maybe this will also help you to look towards it. There are many things online, etc. Okay, so the summer school. I have 3 minutes, but I will tell briefly the story. In 2009, in the winter of 2009, I encountered Walter Miñolo in Chiapas in the context of a conference at the Universidad de la Tierra in Chiapas, the CIDESI. That is today a Caracol now. Today is part of an autonomous Zapatista territory. And this conference that happens over the new year, our conference of celebration of the Zapatista rebellion that happened in 1st of January. It was in this ambience that I met Walter in a cafe in Chiapas, and I told him, I'm working in Middelburg, a city in the Netherlands that was one of the major capitals of slavery, of Dutch slavery. And just next to Amsterdam, Middelburg was almost as important in terms of slave trade. And I said, well, I want to create a summer school because nobody in the college speaks about slavery. And nobody in the college speaks about decoloniality. It was 12 years ago. Now everybody speaks about it. 12 years ago in the Netherlands, nobody spoke about it. And Walter told me, well, I want to do it with you, right? And that's how it started in 2010. And this year we are having the 12th edition of the Decolonial Summer School. That is always around the end of June, beginning of July, because the 1st of July is a commemoration of the abolition of slavery in the Netherlands. So it's always connected to the local history of enslavement. And the Decolonial Summer School has been a place where, in a sense, where people like Maria, as she said in the last time, was where she found company. So it is a place where we have created coalitions across very big differences, because there are practitioners from many academic fields and from the arts, from philosophy, sociology, etc. But also from very different ages. For example, John Casimir, that is one of our faculty and colleagues, I think he's 83 now, and we have very young dancers, well, younger than me, right, that are also part of, like Fabian Barba. And we are all, even if our biographies would not make sense at all, that we will ever be in the same room or even in the same train together, we are all together thinking through the decolonial. And now through many years, we have become a community of engagement. And we have developed, I think, important topics like decolonial aesthetics, the decolonizing of the university, the decolonizing of the museum, have been debates very early on happening at the summer school that later on took a lot of ground in society, particularly in the Netherlands, but also elsewhere. We have developed pedagogies, so the pedagogies of positionality that I could explain in the conversation, the pedagogies of relationality, the pedagogies of transition. So we have been challenging how the university functions, right? I think it is embedded in the university somehow, but it is not part of any program. That's why it's a summer school. And I think it would have never been approved as a course by any university. So we are in a way also using hegemonic structures for counter-hegemonic ends, right? Where we have been using this formation to create a dialogue, a conversation, and where I will finish with this, where we have also experienced and celebrated how decoloniality as a vocabulary to understand the global and local realities that we are living, especially injustice and ecological devastation, has become a vocabulary that enables this coalition building that Maria Lugones is speaking about, this world traveling, because it is a vocabulary that, coming from the global south, For example, coloniality is not a Western term. It's a term that comes from the experience of the global South. So such vocabulary has enabled people to talk among each other without going through the dominant logics, through the dominant epistemology, and has created relations that have many of the former students are. After every summer school, there is groups of students that form and that continue working together. So it has created communities of practice through the years that are actually transforming things around the globe. And what has enabled them is not to talk through Foucault or Marx or Gramsci, but is to talk through the decolonial, because they share experience of coloniality, even if they have very different biographies. So I conclude by saying the great thing of decoloniality is that it is not a program for the future, but it is an analytics that enables to say one no to the modern colonial system, but that opens the possibility for pluriversality, for many yeses. Every yes has to be located in its own local history. So decoloniality don't design the new society, but allows for this one no to the modern colonial that we have been all under. So I will finish with that, and I'm looking forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rolando. We look forward to the conversation as well, and also to hear more about the pedagogic relationality and these other terms that you brought up. Emeka Okereke is next.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's evening here in Berlin. Yeah, I'm trying to get something out of my screen. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to share my screen right away. Okay. Much of what I'm going to be talking about will be thoughts that I pulled out of this essay that I wrote on the Invisible Borders Trans-African project that I wrote in the context of the Field Journal of Socially Engaged Art Criticism. So I encourage you, given that, the scope of this symposium will not allow us to really explore all of that. So I encourage you to maybe go to the link and read further. And the reason why I am choosing to focus on this essay that was written before the pandemic, just a little bit before it, 2019, and then published, I think, early this year, is to underscore the fact that it's important that we are careful about how we think of the pandemic as a sharp break, that, there is the, pre and post, and that applies to everything. And even the way we use the word global. These are things that have been problematized even before the pandemic, but now it has become hyper, especially with the sort of anxiety that's become, the reality of the Western world. I spent 2 months in Barcelona, and I could see how, even though we are aware of the situation and a lot of lives lost, but there's this tendency to sort of close off and think that, okay, this is how the world is now. I think here the point is missed again. When we think about it because we come back to that same hegemony of that inability to see beyond one's own, what Achille Mbembe calls